Right.
You know, Bob Saget passed away a
Sure.
couple years ago.
First guy I ever paid my own money to see as a comedian when I was 18.
But everyone in Hollywood loved him. All the comics loved him. People don't know about Bob Saget. He's like the dirtiest comic among comedians, and he had the Full House.
Yeah.
And he was so
And
great.
America's Funniest Home Videos too.
Which is also G-rated.
Sure. Well, it's funny is like I said. So I saw Bill Cosby. That's a whole other podcast episode right there. When I was 7, and again when I was 9. But I saw Bob Saget. You know, I paid my own money, took a date in high school, right? Tiny little comedy club in Canton called the Akron Canton Comedy Club, 100-seater. Sat in the front row. I mean, I know I talk fast. Saget, I mean, he's machine gun.
Right.
And I liked him so much, I took my parents the very next night. Coincidentally, we got the same exact seats. Flash forward years later, I win the Detroit Comedy Festival. In addition to the prize money, I get to do a half hour before Saget in front of like 3,000 people, right? So I tell Bob Saget that story. He remembered the shoes I was wearing because he made fun of my shoes because it was the late 80s. I had these stupid shoes with like a rope. A sole was made out of rope or something. So he goes, I remember that. You had those really weird shoes. I'm like, how do you remember that? And then what was funny is I was only supposed to do 15. At the last minute, they said, can you do 30? I'm like, of course, I'll do as much time as you want. So Bob Saget comes into my dressing room and he says, listen, my crowd sometimes has a tendency to arrive drunk and or high. So he says, if you lose them and you can't hold the stage, I can make up your time. And I looked him in the eye and I said, I'll hold the stage. And I crushed it, right? Come on, 3,000 people. I mean, how many chances do you get?
Leaving.
I'm not going to take a dive. So they didn't have an announcer bring him on. They let me bring him on.
Wow.
And I got to tell the story of how he was the first guy I ever paid to see. And I brought him on. He comes out with his guitar, gives me a hug, and he whispers in my ear, goes, thank you for making my job so much easier.
Oh, what a
and
compliment.
that was it. And then, like I said, he passed, 5 or 6 years later. I was pretty sad about that.